Hello there, friends, and welcome back to more Bravely Default 2. Last time, we helped out around Wiswald even more, catching up on some side quests that I wasn't able to do as we were journeying through Wiswald the first time and didn't really want to break the pacing. We were able to get some nice levity between our teammates, get to know them a little bit better. We learned that Gloria is a pretty decent painter. We also potentially squared up against a legendary beast of Wiswald folklore, which would be very insane if true. But either way, today we're going to be taking a little bit of a break from Wiswald and heading over to Wiswald here, where we're going to be helping out the locals here after the whole, chaos of the war with Holograd and whatnot. I'm sure they're a little bit, I wouldn't say, too pleasant right now. I mean, they did just survive a serial killer spree, a mass kidnapping, and an attempt to make them all undead, and then they also offered their services in a war against a much stronger power. Yeah, the Wiswald citizens have definitely been through a lot, and I think it's best if we do our best to repay them in kindness. And so today we're going to be starting here in the pub, where it doesn't seem like there's any joyous spirits here. I think it's time for a luck boost. A scaly tail. Okay. Get a floral robe for this. Since ancient times, the skin a snake sheds is believed to bring seriously good fortune, health, wealth, you name it. Snake skins bring it, so I want some. Just kill some 5 Sinnohs, so that's not too bad. We can do that on our off time. Wow, this I have to try. Find some bananactarines. I think I remember mispronouncing that quite a bit already. Apparently there's a fruit called a bananactarine. It's as sweet as first love. I'm desperate to try some, but they only grow in Wiswald Woods. Well, I can definitely go over there and grab that. Then, I believe there is a quest up north here that we can also snag. I'll not be believing the rumors till I've seen some proof. Test your strength. I take it you're the mighty warrior I've been hearing so much about lately. Well, I don't put much stock in rumors, but take out some Akaoni, Yetis, and Polar Bears, and maybe I'll start listening. We get an Ikaboshi Kabuto for that. Seems like it might be at least worth something if we have to take down all of those enemies. So, let's start with... I think we'll take care of Taste Test and Scaly Tail first, and then we'll move our way over to the Akaonis and whatnot. Alrighty, so we need to do Taste Test first. That's the first immediate thing. I don't remember where the banana nectarines are. The banana nectarines. I'm going to be struggling with that this entire episode. I can already tell. Let's go ahead and walk up here. I think I don't need to worry about using the teleport pad here just because everything should be around it. And again, I told you guys, we come back here a lot, don't we? It is just such a common place for these developers to put side quest objectives to the point where even if I said that this dungeon can be quite confusing to navigate, you're pretty much guaranteed to have a pretty good idea of where you need to go. Because I think this is now... Oh dear, I think our 6th time coming to the Wiswald Woods, just in the game itself, just including main scenario and whatnot, which is insane. They've gotten so much mileage out of this area. And I went in circles, didn't I? You know what, I'm gonna go ahead and take a teleport stone back. Taking that teleport bed, and now if we head west, we should be able to reach this other point. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about a few things here, I guess, since the enemies here really aren't going to be all that interesting, and we're just kind of going to be running around. Not really doing any much fighting this episode, actually, just in general. Outside of that one quest I grabbed that is specifically based around fighting. Okay, so I have another story time for you guys. So, I have already talked about many a time about how my experience with this game was initially pretty negative. I am not afraid to say, and I've said it many times already, that for the early portions of the game, I just really was not impressed with it at all, and I was not having fun. And after a little while through Chapter 2, I started to actually really enjoy myself, and I'm getting lost in circles. But I started to really enjoy myself because I decided to learn how the game worked and what the developers wanted me to do with the game. And while that is true, and I definitely did start to enjoy myself, and Chapter 3 was a big plus in me starting to enjoy the game even more, considering it a worthwhile purchase, I'm not afraid to admit that I still really wasn't sold on the game entirely until right about now. When I got to this point I am going in circles, hang on. Going around down here. Okay. Now I'm on the right path. I kept seeing that one bridge, and I thought I was on the right area, but I was not. Anyways, it was right around here that I actually sort of began to give this game an even more fair shot. The reason for this is that I really enjoyed Chapter 3, and I really began to sort of connect with the characters of this game. I mentioned in the previous episode that I have been praising these characters and the setting and the story quite a bit, but that hasn't really been shown or proven to the viewer if this is your first time seeing the story. Because I myself, on my first playthrough, still really wasn't connected to these characters all that much up until this point when we are starting to get side quests and small little story snippets where we can get a glimpse into how they interact with each other just outside of main story where they're just trying to solve the mystery of how to get some crystals. The snakes that we need to kill are in Holograd's overworld, so we're going to be hunting them here while I continue talking. But yeah, we get to finally see these characters sort of come into their own. Now, I will say, I do think it's happened a little late. I kind of wish that the side quests that have the characters as the forefront were a little bit more involved early on. I mean, it's not like they weren't there. They were present in the story beforehand, like the Fresh Fish storyline and whatnot. That's all present, and that all helps develop these characters. But I do personally think that that story was okay, but it really wasn't what I was looking for whenever I was trying to sort of connect with these characters. However, as the story progressed, we started to get to know these characters a bit more because of the quests and stories that we were getting access to at this point in time. Not only that, but I had more jobs, and I had more knowledge about how this game worked, and so I got to enjoy it a little bit more. Along with the fact that the Holograd commanders gave me quite a bit the run for my money when I was initially playing through the game, and so I felt like I was legitimately being tested and challenged. And when it comes to the Adam fight, the idea of utilizing his own counters against him was exactly how I beat him my first time playing through the game, and I felt like a flippin' genius doing that because counters had been the bane of my existence this entire game, and I took down the big bad of the story up to that point, making him kill himself with his own counters, and it felt so gratifying to just feel that victory. And yeah, I mean, okay, as much as I have been actively playing around counters and trying to avoid them as best as possible or use them to my own advantage, I am not going to defend a lot of these counters at all. Counter any ability and... Okay, well, mostly counter any ability is just genuinely frustrating to go up against. Stuff like counter physical attacks or, you know, counter default or... what's another good? Like, counter items. Honestly, I think those are fine. Now, it does depend on what they exactly counter you with. Like, in Adam's case, it doesn't matter what he counters you with outside of his Dreadblade counter. He will die, he will hurt himself, and you can abuse that. But there are a lot of very, very frustrating counters, and some of these bosses, like Marla, just have way too many of them. But this is besides the point. I'm getting off on a tangent here. The idea is that I started to really come around on this game. However, I do not think that this game was perfect. I still don't. And there were still a lot of complaints I had with it. I came around on this game's main cast and gameplay, and the music and visuals had already won me over, even on the Nintendo Switch version, which is pretty rough compared to the Steam version, which is what I'm running on right now. But the story was still pretty meh, and it still is pretty meh. It's not bad, but it definitely is different from anything else we've seen from this franchise, and anyone who's played a Bravely game will understand what I mean. Now, I can tell you right now, we're still a ways away from concluding this story, and we still have quite a bit to go. So I wouldn't say you should judge the game on its story right now, as there's still a lot of interesting stuff to show. However, at the time, I realized that we were probably about halfway or over halfway done with the narrative, and I really just wasn't connecting with it as much as I was in other games. And honestly, I don't really want to say much more on that subject because, well, we're still playing the game, and I don't want to tamper your expectations of what is to come before it's actually happened. If this is your first time experiencing the story of Bravely Default 2 and you're playing alongside me or just watching the story unfold, I want you to come to your own opinion about it, and I don't want to dictate that myself before anything has ever happened. So I'll leave my first impressions of where I thought the story was at this point right there, and we'll move on to another thing. Now, okay, another thing. I mentioned that the Hellblade was going to be a job that I try to really make good use out of in the previous episode. However, I do want to make it a bit of adjustment to that. The Hellblade is a job that, honestly, I will struggle to make I will struggle to find success, an immediate success with at this point in the game. It's good to level it up right now, but this is definitely going to be a job that sees a lot of its benefits later on in the game. Oh, that was a very nice little quote right there. There's a lot of unique victory cloaks that have been added on as we've continued the story, and trust me, we'll have time to listen to all of them, but I have to get my tangent now. Let's go ahead and head back to, actually, let's go take care of those Aka Onis. I'll see you wherever those are. I think they're in Rymdal. Aha, I am correct. So I just wanted to make a bit of a side to that, since as much as I would like to make immediate good use of the Hellblade, this might be something that takes a bit to really get going. Other jobs that are on that list are Arcanist, Gambler, now, okay. I myself have used Dragoon quite a bit. However, outside of like super duper busted strategies, I can't really find a lot of people who have taken good advantage of the Dragoon in like standard gameplay, which sort of saddens me because it's a personal favorite job of mine and one that I made really good use of in my initial playthrough. And so that'll definitely be a job that I tried to show off its positives. Did I not kill an Aka Oni? Oh no, it's the big guys. Okay. Yeah, I need to not hunt down the Minotaur, I need to hunt down the Onis. Where are you? There you are. Yeah, there's a pretty decent list of jobs that I personally haven't really done much with outside of research for job videos, and so I'm going to be looking at rectifying that for you guys here, and who knows, for some of these jobs, like the Hellblade, I'm going to be learning a lot of new things alongside you guys, and I'm going to be testing some things that I'm sure other people have tested already. But, you know, I'm going to be exploring some things and see what works. Experimenting alongside you guys. We have now maxed out magic herbs. Okay, that's interesting. Killed our Aka Oni, and that means we have to go kill some Yetis now. Those are the big burly guys I was trying to kill earlier. Yeah, it's going to be pretty fun. Since we have, you know, a vast array of jobs now, this is really the point where you can start experimenting. If you hadn't already gotten JP up and up on Freelancer, it is around this time where your JP gain starts to really climb, which is why I highly suggested leveling up Freelancer all that way back when. You've just seen how much benefits I have gotten from using that. I have been able to showcase these jobs in incredible ways that I would not have been able to do in a reasonable amount of time if I hadn't done that grind session 30-minute grind session early into the game. It really isn't that bad. Now, I will say, I probably could have formatted that video a little bit better. There was a lot of information I wanted to get through in that episode that I don't think I formatted in the best way. And so that's a bit of a downside for me there, but I think I did okay. Now we need to go murder some polar bears. Man, we're just clearing out the winter areas here. Alright, well, you didn't really miss all that much. I just went around tracking down some polar bears and killing them with level slash. You know, the usual, so it really wasn't worth my time showing that. Let's head back to Wiswald and turn these quests in, and then I'm going to heal up, because man, am I out of MP. You know, it's funny that I said that this would be a Wiswald dedicated episode, and then I immediately pivot and not only go over to Holograd, but also right back to Rymdal. It's like I never left. Anyways, let's go ahead and turn this stuff in. What? You actually found some? Real banactarines? Bananactarines. Again, I'm gonna keep trying. I know I have probably been botching that for the past, I don't know, I've been recording for 20 minutes, so past 20 minutes, and someone is very likely incredibly angry with me right now. Thank you so much. With these, my luck's sure to take a turn for the better. Now I can shed the old me like a much scaly skin. Once I sell these wee little beauties on the secret underground snakeskin market, I'll be rolling in money. Oops, I didn't mean to let that slip. Look, I hope you don't think I'm a snake in the grass, but I'm afraid this was my plan all along. I made up all that stuff about something I accidentally pushed A. Anyways, we get a floral rope. Oh man, I got a little bit of a tickle in my throat. Took a swig of water right before I got into Wiswald, and it did not like me. Should not be breathing while trying to drink water. A magic-enhancing garment woven from the petals of many fragrant flowers. Huh, okay. That, I'm assuming, is probably better than a Mirage vest, just I can't wear it. It's too heavy. For some reason, a vest is lighter than a robe. Actually, you know what? That does kind of make sense. Robes do tend to drag. Alright, so you've proved yourself. You're the real deal. I've been searching for someone as tough as me ever since I was little. That's how I'll know who I'm going to marry, see? Well, congratulations, you just made the list. Be ready for the call-up, alright? We might be seeing a lot more of each other. Oh dear. Wait, are you gonna marry all 4 of us? Or, I mean, okay, I guess our other team members are hanging around Wiswald, so I guess it's just Seth. Actually, that does lead me to something. Another tangent I can talk about. Now, obviously, this pertains to the other Bravely games, so if you... you know, I obviously don't like to compare the two, these 3 games all that often, but I will be making this comparison. One big thing I do not like about Bravely Default 2, and I will die on this hill. Why can I not play and run around as any other party member in our team? In the other Bravely games, whoever is your leading party member is the person you run around with in the overworld. And you can move around your party formation in any way that you want. Why was that not in this game? I have actually looked for a reason for why that isn't in this game. I have looked for interviews. I have not found anything. If people can find a reason for why they removed that specifically in this game, I would love to see it. Genuinely, not like in an anger way. I would genuinely love to see the reason why they removed that aspect. Because that was an aspect of Bravely Default 1 that I really appreciated when making my series over that game, because it let me sort of keep the focus of a chapter on a certain character by having them in the forefront of our gameplay for most of the video, by walking around as them and having them as the lead of the party. And so it's really unfortunate that I'm sort of forced to play as Seth this entire time instead of anyone else in the party. Now, I know that there are certain things you can do with the Steam version of this game that can fix that issue, but I'm not going to be talking about any of those or showing them off because that doesn't pertain to the actual base game itself. Anyways, quest time. Is there anything more terrifying than the undead? Undead and unwelcome. I've had enough. The undead need to get gone and stay gone this time. Apparently there's a spell you can do with Holly to keep them away. Can you get me some? Sprigs of Holly. I believe that is also potentially in the Wiswald Woods. I am kind of curious. We'll go ahead and do this quest, and then the next few quests that we'll be doing do pertain to an actual miniature narrative, and so we will wrap up with those. Oh, no, this one just has us going around the overworld of Wiswald, which is honestly a little bit better, I guess. I mean, actually... Oop, it almost moved me towards killing that guy. There actually is a rare monster around here. Right here, to be exact. Where is it? Don't make me a liar, game. There you are, a little rare monster right here. I think I'm gonna hold off on killing him right now. There's a few rare monsters that I have on a list that I think I'm going to make them sort of the star of their own episode later down the road. That way, a lot of them are just sort of in their own little contained episode, so if you're looking for rare monsters, you can just go there. Similar to what I'm going to be doing with Bind and Divide much later down the road in the series. Which was kind of a backup plan, actually. I was not planning on doing that with Bind and Divide. It was originally going to be a thing I updated periodically. However, after sort of looking at what I wanted to do and how much I wanted to cram into these side quest episodes, I just decided that it was better for me to probably just make it its own thing. So, we'll be seeing that later down the road. Urgh, I stink! Well, this is sure to keep everyone at bay. Whether they're undead or not, perfect! Thanks for the second Hagee's Jite there. Cool. Oh, I guess, as a bit of a side tangent, I don't know. I don't know what made me think of this, but... so I'm currently recording this episode on November 1st, 2024. And a few days ago, I actually beat Metaphor Refantasio. Very good game. And there was something about recording for this series and playing that game side by side that made me just really like the Atlas's, the developers of Metaphor, Atlas's take on a job system with the archetypes, and, you know, playing alongside with this game, and I like the job system in this game. I don't know, it was really nice to see the comparisons between the two and just sort of see their take on what exactly Final Fantasy jobs might look like. But, besides the point, Roddy and Lily seem to be in some kind of conversation here, and while it might be a little disrespectful to butt in, I'm going to do just that.
Please, Roddy, you've got to take a break. You'll burn yourself out.
Take a break? And what kind of example would I be setting for everyone then?
Hey guys, is everything okay?
No, everything is not okay. This pig-headed old bampot's been working flat out for 3 days straight. He's not had a wink of sleep. And if he carries on at this rate, well...
Well, nothing. What's 3 days? Have a job to do, and I can't rest until it's finished. Anyway, I know my body better than anyone, and I'm telling you there's nothing to worry about. Now, I've got to go. I need to check in with everyone.
I knew this would happen. I'm taking you home, mister. You need your rest, and you're getting it whether you like it or not. Poor Roddy was absolutely exhausted. No sooner had his head hit the pillow than he started snoring. He's working far too hard trying to get Wiswald back on its feet. But that's who he is, I suppose. I mean, he insists that if he wants everyone to make the effort to get things back to normal, he has to lead by example. And I think that's wonderful, don't get me wrong. It's just... well, I wish he'd take better care of himself, that's all. So I've been on at him constantly about it, and we've been rowing something awful.
I can see why you'd be worried about him.
Thanks. You couldn't do me a wee favour, could you? He was off to do the rounds, see how everyone's getting on. Could you go instead? They might open up to you a bit more anyhow. And if I can tell him the world's not falling apart without him, maybe he'll not be up every 5 minutes checking on everything.
I'd be happy to help. And I'll be sure not to tell them you sent me.
I think that would be for the best, aye. Thanks. You're a lifesaver.
Once again, getting to hang out with old Asterisk users is a big bonus of this game. Leading by example. I'm worried Roddy's going to burn himself out. Could you check on see how everyone's doing in town? Could you check and see how everyone in town's getting on? It might put his mind at ease to see that the world won't fall apart if he takes a break. We get a heart ring for this. I believe that's just an HP boost, but you know what? If it helps out Roddy and Lily, I'm down for it. So that has us going back down through the Institute, which is a little bit more lively than it was whenever we first arrived in Wiswald, thanks to it, being, taking the kids in after all their parents passed away. Yeah, a little bit of a dark thought, I know, but let's go ahead and cross that out of our minds and go and help out some people. It wants us to go outside. Okay, well, let's see what people need. Outside here... Is it inside of the... Oh, no, okay, so it's inside the Great Tree Hollow. Which is impressive that these guys were able to carve out a tree in such a short period of time. The Earth Crystal was not building trees until fairly recently.
This blue stuff's an absolute nightmare. I can't get rid of the stains, no matter how hard I scrub. If that wasn't bad enough, now I've gone and snapped the handle off my brush. I'll never get the place cleaned up at this rate. Whew. I'm in a right old pickle, no mistake.
So, we can give this man 3,000 peak for a new brush. This side quest will have us donating our own personal finances to help the citizens of Wiswald in replace of Roddy. I will tally up the amount of peak that we need throughout this side quest, but I'll let you know that it really isn't all that much, and we definitely have the funds currently to pay for it. So if you've been following along, you will have no issues with this. Let's give him the brush.
Excuse me, would this be enough for a new brush?
Oh, Jinx, that's very kind of you, laddie. Aye, this should be more than enough.
Does Roddy not usually give you tools and that kind of thing?
Roddy? Oh, I always make sure I've got everything I need. The boy's a marvel. Just hate to bother him, you know. Had a hard enough job convincing him to let me take over the cleaning in the first place. This is no job for a man of his talents. He's got far more important things to be getting on with. Like leading his people, for one.
Huh. You're not wrong about that.
I just wish he'd lean on us all a bit more, you know? We're here for him. He needs to understand that.
Well, it's certainly looking a whole lot better round here, eh?
Ah, all right there, Roddy. We were just talking about you.
Oh, hi. Cursing my name for working you so hard, I expect. Well, not to worry, I'm here now. You go home and rest.
Oh, no, you don't. Back to bed with you, now.
Lily's got our back, making sure that man gets his sleep. I saw that I had missing one treasure chest in there. Hang on. The power of divining rod. Where are you? Where are you? How did I miss? Oh, there it is. Okay. How did I miss you? How? I've been looking through the comments on YouTube videos. I don't think anyone has pointed that out. If you have, I apologize deeply. But wow, okay, that escaped all of us. Okay.
If I can't get this blasted branch out of the way once and for all, we'll never get this place rebuilt. I've sat down and used every trick Roddy ever taught me to put together a plan. I've got all the tools ready and everything. All I need to do is get things underway. The only problem is, it's way too big a job for one person. I need help.
So now we need to give this man 10,000 peeg to hire some people. Let's go ahead and give it to him.
Here, maybe this will convince a few people your job is a priority.
Really? You're just giving it to me? Wow, thanks. I'll be able to put a crack squad together with this little lot, no doubt about it. I might even be able to get them to help with a couple more things I've got in mind. Thanks again, pal. You're a lifesaver.
Oh, don't mention it. Before I go, though, can I ask you something? Have you told Roddy that you need help?
I haven't, actually. Suppose I wanted to show him I could get the job done myself, you know? After all, he's taught me so much. Only seems right to make myself useful in return.
Wow. Roddy's quite the inspiration.
All right there, big man. How are you getting on with that tree?
Oh, aye, all good, Gaffer. Everything's under control.
That's what I like to hear. Give us a shout if I can help you with anything, eh? And remember, don't overdo it. There's nothing to be gained from pushing yourself too hard.
Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Come on, you. Back to bed.
I could just see Lily dragging Roddy back to their house by his hood, just kicking and screaming. It's that scene from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the Subspace Emissary, where Diddy Kong is just dragging Fox. If people haven't done that, they won't get that reference, but I think that's always what I think of.
So, Lily, I've been thinking. Oh, ignore me, love. I was just wittering away to myself.
Do you mind if I ask what it was about?
I suppose it can't hurt. See, I want to ask Lily if I can help look after the bairns the Institute took in. I thought it might make her life a wee bit easier, you know.
That sounds like a great idea. I bet Lily will be glad of the help.
You really think so? I was getting all nervous, wondering if I'd only get in the way. But we can't just carry on relying on her for everything, can we? All right, if you think she'd be keen, I'll go and ask her. Would you mind if I... No, Lily, I couldn't help noticing.
So, I don't know how expensive nannies usually are, but this woman wants 24,000 pig to help the orphaned children. I'm assuming she's mostly going to use these funds to help kids instead of paying her salary, but either way, the money is going somewhere, and it's going to be beneficial. Let's go ahead and just give it to her.
Here. Maybe this will help break the ice with Lily. You can use it to buy a few things for the kids at the Institute.
Oh, that's very generous of you, but I really can't accept it.
Why not? It's all for the future of Wiswald.
I suppose you're right. All right, maybe I will take it. Thanks so much.
Roddy and Lily are lucky to have so many people working hard to help them get Wiswald back on its feet.
Oh no, we're the lucky ones. Roddy's the best leader a country could hope for. I do worry about him though. Sometimes I think he tries to do too...
Oh, hello there. While I've got you, let me thank you for putting up with everything I've been asking you to do.
Thank me, but I haven't...
Come on now, what are you getting so flustered for? Anyone would think you...
Roddy!
Roddy's working too hard. That's the truth of the matter. Rebuilding this place isn't just down to him. We've all got to do our bit. And besides, he's got all his other duties. There's a country to run after all.
You're right. He has more than just rebuilding the city to worry about. Things must be pretty difficult for him right now. Maybe I should go and see if there's anything I can do to help. I'll go talk to Lily about helping out.
Thanks for letting me know that I need to go talk to Lily. I mean, that seemed to be pretty obvious. Let's go over here. Back over here by Roddy's office, Lily awaits us.
Well, how did it go?
Yeah, everybody's working hard. Feels like things will be back to normal before long. They all have a lot of faith in Roddy, and a lot of respect. But they are also kind of worried. They think he's doing too much.
Sorry I had to pick up my slack there for a wee bit. Still, if nothing else, I saw enough to tell me that this is no time to be loafing around at home. One more push, then maybe we can breathe easy at last.
Please, Roddy, you have to rest.
I can't, Hen. Not now. What kind of message would it send if people saw their leader slacking off, eh?
But Roddy, if you keep going like this, you'll end up doing it again.
Eh?
Have you forgotten our wedding, you great oaf? You fretting about all the preparations, staying up all night, worrying yourself sick. And then finally, on the night before the big day, keeling over with the strain of it all.
I just wanted it to be perfect.
Exactly. You piled impossible expectations on yourself until they crushed you. And now you're doing it again. Look, everyone thinks it's amazing how responsible you feel for making sure Wiswald gets back on its feet. But you don't have to do it all yourself.
Lily's right.
Aye, that she is, Gaffer. Don't be afraid to lean on us. We can take it.
Of course we can. And besides, you've got all your other responsibilities to be thinking of.
But I've not been thinking straight, have I? Well, thank heaven someone has. All right, I'll take a wee break. It's for the good of Wiswald in the long run, eh? And for our good too.
I don't know how to thank you. I thought I'd never get him to see sense.
Oh, don't mention it. By the way, you said that Roddy collapsed the day before your wedding? What happened after that?
Well, we had to postpone the whole thing, of course. But we couldn't let the food go to waste, so we invited everyone round for an impromptu party anyway. The silly old fool ended up paying for 2 weddings. Honestly, if that doesn't teach a man not to overstretch himself, I don't know what will.
Dang, 2 weddings? Lily's a lucky woman. And Roddy's a very unlucky man. But you know what? It's a matter of perspective. Party chat time, let's get off that subject. Roddy never rests. True that. I should have known Roddy'd be overdoing it. He never was able to take things easy. Not something you had any problem with, I'm sure. Hey! Well, Lady Emma always did say Roddy and I complemented one another perfectly. Far better to play to one another's strengths than to attempt to change one's nature, I suppose. Aye, exactly! I could never be like Roddy, and he could never be like me. And that's what makes us such a good team. Which isn't to say people can't change. Roddy himself has calmed down a lot compared to how he used to be. Really? He used to be even worse than this? Oh, aye. If he got himself tied up in a tricky research problem, he'd often wouldn't eat or sleep for days. I got quite worried about him at one point. Took my concerns to Lady Emma. She saw what was happening straight away and gave him a new assignment to spend a whole week at home not even thinking about work. There was no other way to make him take a break. Wow. None of us really believed he'd do it though, Lily especially. She had to keep a close eye on him to make sure he wasn't secretly reading books under his bed covers. I don't think he made it very easy for her, poor girl. I can only imagine how she must have felt. Yeah, well, pushing yourself too hard doesn't do anybody good. Let's remember that, and make sure to rest up when we have the chance. That's a good idea. Me saying that as I'm recording this at, like, what is it? 4:30 in the morning. Oops. Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. And that leads to a good point. Partially why my ramblings can sometimes be super incoherent is because I'm recording way past my usual curfew. I usually do lights out at like 2 in the morning. I try not to work past that. But sometimes I just kind of get in the groove, or just forget to do something, or I'm really lazy and put it off. This was totally not one of those cases. Anyways, I think this is a decent place to stop for today. We had a pretty decent conclusion. We helped out around Wiswald. Obviously, there are still some quests that we can do, but we've got a pretty decent cover on most of them. Next time on Bravely Default 2, instead of wrapping up here in Wiswald, we're going to go ahead and move over to Savalon, as I think we can actually wrap up everything I want to do there, and then we'll probably start jumping around a little bit more erratically. Or maybe we'll go to Holograd. I haven't actually really decided on what order I want to do things. Anyways, with that being said, I'll see you soon.